Well, that was creepy. Did you guys just see that? My door just opened. Hey, what's up, garden friends? Long time no talk. It's been a while since I've done a gardening vlog. A lot has changed out here, but one thing that has not changed is that everything is still a mess. Because this is life, and that's the way things go, and that's okay. Sometimes you just gotta roll with the punches and do your best with what you got. Got this hibiscus. This is the Seminole Pink. And it's got lots of blooms on it. It's one of my favorite hibiscus. And this Justickia is doing really well. Aren't those pretty though? I love those. So I've been working on getting things planted up around this Alexander palm. I still need to get this Angelonia planted in here. Look how nice those flowers are. I love Angelonias. They remind me so much of orchids. They remind me of orchids because they have that green and kind of maroon burgundy tone on the insides of their lips. So in here I ended up doing a whole bunch of the supertunias, some begonias, caladiums. I have this Colocasia black coral in the front. Gives some nice contrast. This is probably too much, but whatever. It's gonna look nice when things get going. Be really nice and colorful. Moving this way, the gingers are doing great. The stalks are the thickest I've ever seen on these guys. They're probably gonna get really, really tall this year. Too tall to be planted in the front of the garden, and we had some bad storms the other day, so some of them are starting to fall forward. I'm gonna end up having to come out here and stake them up probably. Then in the background here there are some Tropicanas coming up. Canna Tropicana. I have weeds to pull, so many weeds. A couple days of rain and they just showed up out of nowhere. So, but the good news is the soil's nice and soggy, so it should be easy to get them up. Then here in the foreground, I just quick planted some vicas and portulacas, some tradescanthas, and some tiny sun patients. This will look better once everything takes off. It's not quite there yet. At Crocus Mia, though, those are looking good. Those are starting to come into bloom in some different areas of the garden, over in the butterfly garden as well. Nothing's changed over here. Still a mess. Kind of where I've been storing things. It's a nice part sun area, so I can keep potted things over without them cooking in the sun and having to water them constantly. Let's see, my odoratas still have blooms on them, but yeah, they're up so high you can't even see them. Pineapple lilies. I am loving my pineapple lilies. I love them every year. If you look down there, you can see the flowers starting to form on these guys and why they're called pineapple lilies. These are going to be nice big spikes that come up with a flower that looks like a pineapple, which is great for mimicking that tropical feel that I'm always going for. Chinese fan palms coming up really well. Here's another variety of pineapple lily. I believe this is Yucama Zulu Flame, maybe? I'm not positive. There's a Oakhurst one over there. Colocasia black coral planted over here. I thought that this would go really well with the silvery blue foliage of this blue dune grass that's over here. Once these things take off, there'll be a better contrast. These gingers are looking good as well. Got my Acuminata rojo. Got nice and big over there. Roselias have a good amount of blooms on them. Down below. The mimosa tree. I don't know if you remember, but in the last video I talked about how I was nervous that I may have killed this guy because I pruned it so incredibly heavily. But the heat came in, we got some rain, and it is filling back out very nicely. Not dead. Super thrilled about that. You can see these pedicets that I planted are taken off, but some kind of bug's chewing on them. I don't know what it is. I have a feeling it might be snails or slugs, possibly. And back here we have some really cool hostas that need to be planted. These are the praying hands. I like them a lot. Something about their shape reminds me of the bird of paradise, the Strelitzia originae. There's the orchids. Nothing really new there. Has some yellowing from the rain. I need to get them out of the sphagnum. That does not work where I live. Sphagnum, no good here. We just get way too much rain for it. The paniculatums are in their full glory. The rain knocked them over, so I need to come back there with some stakes and get them up taller. They're so incredibly top heavy from these massive flowers. And these blooms, these are huge. You see how big these are? They're gigantic. I am loving these paniculatums so much. And this is the vanilla strawberry variety. I'm not seeing any pink on it, but I think that's because it's just too hot. I've tried adjusting the soil pH and nothing. So I think that that's a temperature thing. Also, these smell surprisingly wonderful. Kind of like a honey scent. It's a very clean, subtle smell, but I'm really, really, really enjoying it. And they looked even better when they were standing up straight, believe it or not. You know, I just said all those things standing right next to a fountain, so don't know if you could even hear me. One of the things that I really like about these paniculatums is they stand out beautifully at nighttime. They really light things up in the garden. It just draws your eye. They're fantastic, wonderful hydrangeas, and man, they can take so much heat and so much sun. These are my favorites, and I'm sure they'll be even more so my favorite when they actually turn pink. These guys are noisy. Back down here to the mess. Slowly getting much better though. I need to repot this hibiscus. It's not blooming for me. I have another paniculatum that needs to be, I need to do something with it. It went on clearance. I paid full price for the two massive guys down at that end. And then I ended up getting this one for like 20 bucks. Go figure. But they didn't even have two, so it's a good thing I got the ones I did when I did. Sometime this weekend I'm gonna come in here and get all these things planted. They're just sitting in their spots. The majority of my time out here has actually been focused on getting my drip irrigation, my micro irrigation up and running. So now that that's up and going, I can go ahead and get everything potted and placed properly. There's some more hydrangea for you. Geranium back here is doing very nice as well. Picked up some hardy camellias. I don't know how hardy they are. They weren't given the proper variety names, so hard to say. Okay, so this is what I've been doing today. That's why it's still a mess. I haven't cleaned up. But I have been completely redoing this butterfly garden. I know that it looks like absolute crap right now. Partially because when I finished, our dog went through and just shredded everything. So I need to get mulch down in here, level the soil out. I've ended up mixing plants that really like water with plants that do not. Like I pulled out my Asclepias Incarnata. They're a really wet-loving milkweed, and I switched them out with the Tuberosa that are more drought tolerant because the Tuberosas stay much shorter. These guys were just too big. They're like 5 feet tall back there, and they got lanky, so because of that I have to put drippers on everything that likes water. And then the plants like the yarrow, the Shasta daisies, and the Asclepias tuberosa, the coneflower, they're not going to have any drippers on them, so they'll get the nice drought because they will rot in the heat. Yeah, those guys will rot in the heat. Got the phlox back there. Some more beautiful crocus mia. Those are my favorite. I love the Lucifer crocus mia. These are some plants for a butterfly garden I'm doing for someone else. And my Vandas. These guys just got their last fungicide spray for the month. Oh, and look who's in bloom. This is the Vanda Courulea semi-alba. Gorgeous flowers. One of my absolute favorites. The purple veining that's in there. Oh, it's beautiful. And I'm not usually crazy about white flowers. Never mind that like 2-minute rant I just had about the white hydrangea. And then back over here is just more stuff, annuals and things that are getting thrown into mixed planters. Probably over the next week I should be able to finish up with all of that and then get things really nice and tidy out here. Finally, there's been a varying bounce between things being really clean and then just being an absolute mess. When I'm doing a lot of projects in one day, I tend to be sort of like a tornado and just get them done, and then I'll spend a full day cleaning up to make up for it. When things stay clean, it's a lot easier to stay organized in your mind with what you're doing. I just love this Alfalfa. The Alfalfas might be one of my favorite plants I have out here this summer. Okay, I know it's kind of brief, scattered, rambly video, but I haven't done an update vlog in a while, and I want to keep doing them partially for myself so that I can see how things progress throughout the season, how they've grown, how they've changed, and next year can see what worked and what didn't. So that's what's been going on as of lately. Don't forget to go ahead and like and subscribe if you already haven't. I really appreciate it. It makes a big difference. Comment down below. Tell me how things are going in your garden. Any suggestions you might have. I always appreciate it. One of the best things about all of this is the conversation between gardeners. That'll do it. I hope everybody's doing well, and as always, keep on growing. Bye-bye.